Hey everyone, how's it going? Elliot here again. Today's video is going to be a very nice, quick, bite-sized video talking about another problem that isn't really discussed about the Nintendo Joy-Con from the Nintendo Switch. We've obviously had a few problems with this, a couple of potential even lawsuits coming out about the Joy-Cons and the lack of quality. We're going to rectify this problem with the contents of this little bag. You can pick up these replacement ribbon cables and buttons for around about £2. I'll leave the link in the description below. But let me just show you the problem with this Switch first. If I do the Joy-Con over here on the left hand side, go for ZL and L, and then the up, left, right, down, bottom, capture. Oh, that doesn't seem to do anything. And then this little button up here. And as you can see, it's registering all of them. If I end that, go back in and do the same for this one, it has no problems at all, other than the fact that I've just left it by pressing the home button. So it has absolutely no problems at all. And then this one, however, does. As you can see, it is not doing anything. This one works. This one doesn't. Now, I did pick up this secondhand, so maybe it could have just been a kid who had this before me. He was very abusive with that particular trigger, but I find it hard to believe that even this thing only being like 2 years old, that things are just going to systematically stop working. Anyway, enough waffle. Let me show you how to sort that problem out. It's going to be very, very simple. As I said, the contents of this bag will rectify the problem. Let's go ahead and take this thing apart. To do this, you are going to need a Triwing screwdriver. You can pick them up very, very inexpensively. I'll leave a link to one that I recommend in the description below. I'm just going to go ahead and take off the 4 screws that are around the outside of the Joy-Con, and then we should just be able to lift this piece off quite simply. There will be a couple of little clips on it. There's going to be a couple of ribbon cables inside this thing, which may be slightly off-putting. I know people do get a little bit sort of put off by the ribbon cable stuff, but I assure you it's not too bad. So the next thing we need to do is remove the battery. This one should be a little bit easier to remove because I've done it before. But for those of you who have slightly newer Joy-Cons that you haven't removed the battery from, it's just going to be adhered down with 2 bits of tape. So maybe get like a little spudger tool underneath and just remove it. Next up, switch over to a Phillips end bit thing, and that's the technical term, and then remove these 2 screws that are here. Another thing you might want to do at this point as well actually is remove the battery. It's going to give you a bit of additional work, but you don't really want to be tampering with electronics whilst it's still on. There's also another Phillips screw just down in this bottom corner, so let's go ahead and take that out. You want to just remove this little sensor as well, just so that you have full access to this little piece. Underneath here is another little ribbon cable. As you can see, it's very, very, very small. You should be able to see it there. There's a latch holding that down. You should just be able to get your fingernail underneath there, or if you have a spudger tool or something. I'm actually going to use the screwdriver because I live life on the edge, and we're going to be replacing this ribbon cable anyway. So once you've done that and you've got this bit removed, you're pretty much there. This is all you're going to need. Now inside here is a little clasp which holds this actual trigger button on. So what we're going to need to do is go and get some very fine tweezers and undo that clasp. Then we're just going to remove this and put the new one on. So you're just going to need to work your way under there and pull it outwards, and then that should just release the button. It's a very inexpensive way of keeping this button on, but as I said earlier on, they cut a few corners with the Nintendo Switch, which is a big shame, but maybe rectified in the newer Switch revisions coming out. Okay, well I just did it, but it locked back into place again. That's annoying. Okay, there we go. That has finally come off. That was not the easiest thing to do, but we got there in the end. And now this little button has been removed. There's 2 springs, so be very careful with those. And now we should just be able to pull. Oh no, actually there's a little Phillips screw on there. Be very careful, do not just pull a little Phillips screw on there, and then we can just pull this ribbon cable off. And this has basically been what's caused the problems, as you can see there. Now, if you look very, very closely, the actual button cap seems to have been ripped off. The little black plastic button has completely ripped off and it is nowhere to be seen. So obviously it wasn't going to work. Now this one did have a little bit of adhesive on the underside, I think, but you don't necessarily need that because it's going to be held down with a little screw. So go ahead and put that screw back in. So the next thing for us to do is put these little springs back, and they just slot into these two little holes here, like so. And then this bit is a little bit more satisfying than the removal process. Oh, although I just dropped it on the spring and moved the spring out of the way. Typical. This should actually press down quite nicely and clip into place. There we go. And does that work? Yes. Nice. Although that feels very... Oh no, that's how it should feel. Good. We've got a working button. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and reassemble the Joy-Con now. So the first thing to do, you might want to just bend this ribbon cable down because it does have a little sort of flex in it, as you can see on this old one. So just bend it down. Make sure you're putting it in the right way. It's a very simple little sort of repair to do. You can very much do it yourself. There's only one ribbon cable involved, so that shouldn't hopefully put you off too much. Nice. Stick that back down, close that over. Right, if we go inside, go to settings, go down again to the controls and sensors, test input devices, test controller buttons. Hey! There we go. Everything is working well. We've got them all working. Happy days. Very simple repair. Nice solid click on the back of that now. It feels very, very nice. You'll probably need to wear in a little bit because these aftermarket ones may not have been as high quality. But that being said, it's all done. Very simple to repair. Only took me around 15 minutes. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Thank you, Dustin, for this t-shirt, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.